Mike McCarthy's offense, as we're seeing right now, it's running through Dak Prescott's arm. But make no mistake, they want to be powerful up front, and they want Zeke Elliott to be the guy that makes that happen. They want him downhill. So he's still a tough runner. He's a tough guy to bring down, and the Giants are going to have their handful with him.
And the guys up front, they're going to have to deal with him, among others, Dexter Lawrence and Dalvin Tomlinson, Sean. Ezekiel Elliott under 4 yards per carry this year. He's never had a year where he's been under 4 yards per carry. A big reason, his offensive line is banged up.
Yeah, it's something that the Dallas Cowboys really haven't had to deal with a lot of the last few years, is a lot of changing at the guard position and at the tackle position. So last week we saw Joe Looney get injured. Tyler Biotish came in at center. He's a rookie. So no doubt Dexter Lawrence is licking his chops going up against a young guy. They definitely have some moving parts at the offensive line position, and both of these guys have done a great job with penetration when it calls for it, but they've done a great job of holding up at the point of attack. I think this Giants defense is continuing to get better, and they're more stout than I think people give them credit for.
No question about it. Ezekiel Elliott, however, Sean, not just involved in the run game. More than 20 catches this year. He's been a big-time target for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's been interesting to watch, and I think it's twofold. I think Mike McCarthy likes the passing game and likes getting his running backs out in space, but also lets you know how they're struggling up front with the combo blocks, and they're struggling to establish the point of attack. So now they want to get him out in space. No doubt these two are going to have a big part in clogging up the A and the B gaps and forcing these runs. You want Zeke Elliott going east and west. You don't want him going north-south. You don't want him one-on-one with the safety. So these guys are going to have their hands full with trying to force him to the outside.
And when he does get involved in that passing game, it's up to Blake Martinez and even Giants safeties to be involved to make sure they tackle him after the catch. They did a great job of that against the Rams last week.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big challenge for Blake Martinez. You mentioned he's coming off of another strong performance. He's done a great job in space. We've seen him. He did a great job against Darrell Henderson in a little swing pass. Zeke Elliott rarely goes down on first contact. He's a tough runner. He gets those dirty yards, John, that you're always talking about. It's going to be a big challenge for Logan Ryan, who was filled in nicely for Jabril Peppers at safety. And anytime Zeke Elliott gets out there, it's not just the speed. He sets you up with it. All right, he hits you with the power first, and then he's got a little shake and bake. And watch out, he loves to jump over people too, so you can't just go low on him.
All right, so now let's take a look at some of the things that the Giants are going to deal with the Cowboys. And they got a talented wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb.
They do, and they do a lot of things to get him open. Individually, he's a hard matchup, but schematically, he does a lot of things. And you have to be aware communication is important, because CeeDee Lamb here, he's lined up inside the numbers. So what does that mean? That means there's a pretty good chance he's going to go across the field. The communication has to be from corner to safety to corner, and even a linebacker. Here's why. I'm going to run this very simple route by Lamb. He's just running a crossing route, right? Boom. Let's stop it. You've got a wide receiver here putting pressure on the safety. Lamb putting pressure on the same safety. So why is communication important? Because this corner can come off and intercept that football. So you have to communicate. When CeeDee Lamb is running, if he's got a short split, the number one thing you have to do is to communicate with the backside of your defense, especially if you're playing some sort of zone. And here they are, the opponent here is trying to zone off, and we freeze it. Here's the intersection. Right here, a guy coming here, a guy coming here. Corner can take him, safety can take that guy, and the play is dead.
And that's obviously something that the Giants have had some issues with this year as far as communication on the back end.
Absolutely.
Carl, we're going to look at another way in which they design a way to get CeeDee Lamb open.
Yeah, and again, Bob, it's about recognition. Where is CeeDee Lamb lined up? If CeeDee Lamb is here, there's two reasons why he's there. It's either to get across the field in a hurry or to put pressure on the safety here. Now, if you're the safety, again, communication is important. Linebacker, safety, corner. They've got to talk with each other, because when we let this go, boom, there's an outside release here by Lamb. Safety is here. He should have vision on all of it, so he should see Lamb coming. He should see these guys. What he can't do is overrun this seam route in an effort to help these two guys. They seem to be playing some type of man-to-man coverage, but the safety overruns it, and Lamb just bends it right in for easy completion. This is by design, but knowing where the players are by personnel will give you a pretty good indication of what they're going to do, and it'll help you in your coverage.
Yeah, and obviously the middle of the field has been a big issue for the Giants this season as far as letting people free. All right, now, Carl, now we're going to take a look at Dallas on defense. They added Aldon Smith, who was once a fantastic player, had a lot of issues, suspended for a couple of years, but he's gotten off to a nice start.
Well, Smith is a very disruptive guy. He's not as explosive off the snap as he used to be, but he is as disruptive and powerful as he's ever been. If you can circle right down there at the bottom, Bob, that's Smith. And I'll clear it out.
First drawing. I like it.
Now, he's just going to out-effort the player he's on. He's got a tackle on him, and now he gets help from a guard. You just see he just keeps working, and he's so powerful, he gets in on the play. If you've got to assign two guys to him, you cannot let him out-leverage and out-muscle. Again, just watch him. He pushes the tackle away, shoves the guard away, makes a tackle. Effort play, but very powerful. He does that because he's a powerful pass rusher.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but it looks like the tackle and the guard thought they had the job done with one punch.
Yeah.
Ain't going to get it done.
And again, here he is in the middle. They move him inside. That tells you he's a very effective guy, and he's strong enough to hold up on the interior. Here he is as a rusher. He's on the guard. He just takes the guard, spins off of him. And the beautiful part about what he did, he saw the quarterback step up into the pocket. And what he did, he got the guard going one way, spins back, quarterback steps right into him. Big, powerful guy, very disruptive.
Which team still poses the biggest threat to the Giants in the division? Carl, you go first.
Well, I think every one of them are in the same situation, Bob, but the Dallas Cowboys, because they have the firepower, they can come back and put a lot of points on the board. So I think they are the biggest threat to the Giants, outside of the Giants themselves.
Well, I was going to say right now it would be the Giants themselves, but if you think about it, I would go to Philadelphia Eagles, and this is why. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles, even though they're playing bad, they're more balanced, whereas Dallas has a great offense. Their defense is totally suspect.
I don't know about
But they got a lot of injuries on defense, too. I mean, they're missing their top corners. They're missing Leighton Vander Esch, Sean Lee. They're going to get some of these guys back.
It didn't really matter against, when we played against San Francisco. It's just you got to go with the team. I'm saying the Eagles because in the long run, I think the Eagles are going to be the team
Who's putting the most points on the board, Howard? It's an offensive league. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. The Cowboys have given up 42 points per game over the last 3 weeks. What have opponents been able to do, and how can the Giants use that to their advantage, Howard?
Well, what the Giants can do in this game, like I said before, is kind of go back to the basics. But the thing that they can do mostly is try to get these tight ends active. I know it seems like a common thing we say it week in and week out, but this week more than any week, if the tight end gets active in the middle of the field, for whatever reason, with those two linebackers being out, the Cowboys are having a hard time stopping and controlling the middle of the field.
I don't disagree with you, but I think the key right now is a lethal combination of Wayne Gallman running the football downhill and getting Jalen Smith out of those holes.
All right. I think you guys sort of agree on that one. So that leads to this next question. Who can be a spark plug for the Giants offense this week? Howard, you go first.
I would go to tight end because I said tight ends definitely would be the guy that could be the spark plug. But the spark plug this week, believe it or not, it's going to have to be Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is going to have to find a way to make some plays, some off-schedule plays to find some, rhythm, tempo, make a play where you're not supposed to make a play, pick it up, and not just run the ball, but get the ball in the receiver's hands. I think Daniel Jones needs to be that spark for this team to get over the edge.
Again, I don't disagree. But I'm going to tell you, if Freeman's running the ball well and you put in Wayne Gallman, that's going to be the spark because he gives you a different tempo to your offense.
I would like the running game to work, but definitely Daniel Jones. I need you, Danny Dimes.
The player that I selected for above the numbers is Devontae Freeman.
Okay.
We saw him get integrated into this offense last week, not only in the running game, but in the passing game. And we know that this Dallas Cowboys team, after giving up over 300 yards on the ground, are going to try to stack the box. But I think if they get him touches in the passing game up against these linebackers that have struggled in one-on-one coverage up against elite running backs that have this type of catching ability, that's where the Giants can catch this defense slipping.
Where was Saquon most dangerous in this offense? I believe catching the ball out of the backfield.
Yep.
And that's exactly what you mentioned, being a dual threat for this offensive system. Now, the Giants running backs haven't rushed for over 50 yards in a game all season, but you said it before, Double D, that the Cowboys defense let up 307 yards rushing. 307 yards rushing. That's Madden numbers right there. I expect Devonta Freeman to play above the numbers.
All right, who you got, B?
All right, here we go. My first time on the wheel or the slide right here. We're going to go with Austin Johnson. Now, I know a lot of people are looking like, why Austin Johnson? It's because last week against the Rams, he produced a sack and a forced fumble on what was an effort play, running to the ball. My defensive line coach, Pop Warner years, told me you can never go wrong running to the ball. He forced that fumble. Giants offense managed to get 3 points on the board. We have to get pressure on Dak Prescott. We have to stop the running game. And I think that there's going to be a pass rush and run stop by committee, and this guy's going to be one of those guys.
I think Austin Johnson and the rest of this defensive line have to play a good game in order for the Giants to win this one. We know that this Cowboys offensive line have had some injuries. They've been moving players around. This is their opportunity to capitalize and get penetration in the run game, get them on different levels in the passing game, and you will have success. And the player that we need to be below the numbers is Dak Prescott.
Absolutely. I mean, he's had 3 games in a row with over 450 yards passing, but if you look at the Cleveland game, yes, he made some tight throws. That's what Dak Prescott is supposed to do. But he also threw some catchable balls to the Cleveland defense. They dropped a couple, but they came up with the big pick at the end. I feel like if the Giants defense just catches the ball, then those are some drive stoppers, and you give momentum to a sudden change offense.
If this Giants defense can start fast, catch those catchable balls, but alignment and assignment, make sure you keep sound gap discipline and get those pressures in the A and B gap, because that's where we've seen Dak Prescott trying to drop into his back pocket, and put his weight on his back foot, not drive through the football and see that one sailing.
All right, well, tell me about this Dallas Cowboys opponent now. They're an offense that obviously starts with Ezekiel Elliott. For the first time in his career now, and he's been around for a handful of years, he's averaging less than 4 yards a carry. When you look at him in their running game, how much different does it look compared to the film you saw from last season?
Zeke is Zeke, honestly. He runs the ball. He's one of the top running backs in the league right now, if not the top running back. And, he's going to get his. It's just they have a lot of weapons that they utilize around him to help him out a little bit more. And, well respect to him. It's just we're going to have to do a great job not letting him fall forward for extra yards and stopping him.
One of the things I've noticed about the Cowboys, too, is that over the first 4 weeks, their first drives have only combined for 1 field goal. It seems as though they're having a lot of trouble getting out of the gate. They're falling behind and having to play catch-up. So how important is that for you guys defensively to kind of set the tone early in this one?
Yeah, exactly. Each week our goal is to start fast and finish strong, and that's just kind of been our goal week in and week out. And seeing that could play to our advantage a little bit. You want to take advantage of every little thing you can in games like this.
One thing I need to ask you about is that Mark Colombo, their former offensive line coach in Dallas, is now here, obviously, working with the Giants. And so is Cam Fleming, who used to play with the Cowboys. I'm not going to ask you what they've told you, but is it fair to say that you've talked to those guys to find out a little bit about what the Cowboys offensive front is all about?
Fairly a bit.
I kind of thought so.
I'll give you.
What do you think about the experience of actually playing in front of some fans? I mean, this is the first time this season you guys are going to have a crowd.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hear some noise other than the music and the speakers. Hear some people screaming, yelling, all that stuff. Probably getting booed, running out the tunnel or whatever. I'm excited for all that.
Well, final thing I just want to ask you, and that is about Prescott, because I can't leave the interview without mentioning him. He's putting up monster numbers. So if you stop the run, you got to worry about him throwing the ball. How much do you have to keep that in the back of your mind that you just can't let up on him, even down to the final gun?
I mean, that's just good by him, honestly. We're not trying to let anybody breathe. You know, our first goal is to stop the run and then stop the pass kind of deal. So we prepare for it all, and I feel like we'll be ready for it all.
Well, now let's take a look at those numbers in Carl. 9. Take a look at the 9 turnovers. The Cowboys are tied for the most in the NFL with the Eagles. Then you have the Redskins and Giants with 8 each. 34 turnovers in the NFC East. The Giants have to try to get the ball out this weekend.
Well, you've got to make a team like the Dallas Cowboys live up to their negative stats. You can't let them get back on track by securing the football.
All right, so that's an area that the Giants will have to attack. 146 points allowed, the number 42. And you take a look at the Cowboys are falling behind, Carl, by huge numbers in these games. Teams are jumping on them early. That's a key for the Giants this week.
Well, when opportunity knocks, this Giant offense has to answer because they're allowing every team they play to score a lot of points.
Yeah, that 146 equates to 42 points per game.